welcome again to another episode of the C-List Villains Podcast. I am your host, AJ the Comic Collector, and once again, I am joined with E-Man, Red, and Luke. As all of us knows, Chadwick Boseman tragically passed away at the young age of 43 due to colon cancer. The cultural impact of the Black Panther movie was greatly due to Chadwick Boseman's portrayal as T'Challa, and the movie's success proved representation in film can still lead to high box office numbers. The news was a shock to everyone, including those in the movie industry, as Boseman decided to keep his battle a secret. The loss of Chadwick Boseman was felt by all of us who love comics, and on behalf of the C-List Villains, our heart goes out to Mr. Boseman's loved ones. With the passing of Chadwick Boseman, we wanted to talk about the impact of the Black Panther in the MCU and what the future holds for this character in the movies. All right, guys, what do you guys think is going to happen now with the Black Panther character in the MCU? Do you guys think that they're going to replace him, or they're just going to move forward with possibly Shuri taking the mantle as Black Panther? E-Man, what are your thoughts?
I think that Disney's going to sit on this for a while. I think they're going to be able to move forward with some of the other movies, and they're going to take a little bit of time to decide exactly what's going to happen. Over the next 2 or 3 years, people are going to keep asking them what's going to happen. It's too fresh. What would I like to see? I would like to see Shuri take over the mantle, because isn't that what happened in the comic books?
Yes.
So
yes.
I would like to see Shuri take over the mantle as Queen of Wakanda. But it's got to be done. It's got to be executed. Yeah, it's got to be executed respectfully. Right. Not just to T'Challa, but to Chadwick as well.
Yeah. Red, what do you think?
I already read up on a couple of, leaked news.
Are these rumors? Well, I mean, they have to be rumors because nothing's...
No, rumors. Right? I mean, they're all from, other sources from here and there. But
right.
The one I read was, since Black Panther 2 is supposed to start Phase 5, that anything that Disney does with the other Marvel movies is right now focused on Phase 4, so they can skip Black Panther for a few good years until they can get a good story here. And then the other thing is the way how Infinity War ended. So there was a 5-year gap that Shuri should have already had been endowed with Black Panther powers, because T'Challa was gone.
Right.
That's
she would already had been queen for 5 years.
Well, wait a minute. Wouldn't it have reverted back to T'Challa's mom? Or would it
No.
have gone over to Shuri because...
It would have been Shuri. She was the next kid.
Okay. All right. Well, storytelling-wise within the MCU, I can see how that could work.
They already alluded to the next villain, which is going to be Namor. So I'm thinking that in the next Black Panther movie that, they will talk about the death of T'Challa, and also maybe bring back Killmonger, thus giving Namor a foe to battle while Shuri gets to battle Namor's cousin, Namorita.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, storytelling-wise within the MCU, I can see how that works.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, I mean, you could write the death either off screen or just show little bits and pieces here, but I think the only way to make it really work is having the family's consent on having to use his digital likeness and finish out the story that way, at least in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Right. What about you, Luke? What do you think?
I think I agree with E-Man that they are going to wait a long time. I think we are not going to get an announcement probably for 2 years, if not 3 years. I think probably 2 years they'll decide and then start production maybe in 2 to 3 years, slated for maybe 2025 for a Black Panther to come out. I know that sounds rough, but I think they're going to end Phase 5 with Black Panther instead of beginning
it out. Okay.
And so
we're not gonna see anything though with Black Panther for a long time, as it should be. Let it rest. Let the spirit of Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa pass together, and then we'll see what happens. Probably we'll get an announcement in 2 years for a movie to start in 3 years for a release in 5 years. That's my prediction.
What I'm hoping really is that Disney doesn't do anything dumb like, oh, this whole time T'Challa was a Skrull. Sorry, guys. Like
No,
that,
they won't do anything. They
they
will not do anything like
you
that.
cannot, yeah, you just can't go in that direction. So if anyone was thinking, any of our listeners was thinking that could happen or should happen,
That
I'm
won't
going to
happen.
have to
We're-
disagree that
We're not.
that should not happen.
That's
okay?
crazy, man.
All right, but I know someone's thinking it. I know someone out there. I know of our dozens of listeners, one of them was thinking,
And
Dozens. We're trying to get millions of listeners here.
and millions.
Here's what I'm thinking though. Is like because T'Challa is supposed to have a relationship with Storm, and T'Challa should be the next Black Panther movie. Should be the ones that introduce the X-Men. But
Right.
they can still do that. Why not make Shuri fall in love with Storm?
They could go that way, I guess, but I mean, I never
It
even
kind
thought
of
about
fulfills the
that.
story, but then also fulfills the LGBT.
TQ.
Yeah.
LGBTQ.
Missing letters there.
Oh, so if Storm came and helped rule Wakanda, I would be down with that. Storm and Shuri.
That would be great. That would make almost perfect sense.
Let me ask you guys a question.
We'll take credit for that from Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler, if you're listening, that was our idea. We will allow you to go ahead and use that. Thank you very much.
And also come on the podcast.
And come on the
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. Let me ask you guys a question, a very serious question that could possibly happen. Could Marvel replace Chadwick Boseman with another actor to play Black Panther? Do you guys think that they would even consider that? Luke, what do you think?
100% yes. It's a for sure possibility. Of course, we see John Washington, who just came off a really strong performance in Tenet,
Yeah.
and his star is rising faster than I think he's probably the fastest star rising in Hollywood right now. And if they did choose someone to take the mantle, if they didn't decide to go with Shuri, he would be a great candidate.
I agree. Red, what do you think?
They're going to bring back Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, and give him the mantle of Black Panther.
You don't think that they would just outright replace T'Challa with a brand new actor?
No, because this wasn't the Iron Man 2 post Disney, or to replace Terrence Howard with Don Cheadle. So people do want some kind of continuity.
Right.
So, yeah, kill off T'Challa and bring Eric Killmonger to at least take the mantle or the powers of the Black Panther.
Right. What do you think, man?
Is it a possibility? Anything's possible if you think about it. Like Red said, they've went ahead and replaced Rhodey once, right? At the same time, War Machine.
Post-Disney.
Rhodey, yeah, post-Disney. But at the same time, Rhodey's more of a supporting character. He's not the A-list. He's not the top of the game. Chadwick was too important to be replaced.
So you're saying he's tier 1. He's a tier 1
He's
hero now,
tier
right?
1.
He's tier 1.
It's just like asking if something happened to Chris Evans, do you replace Chris Evans as Captain America? It's on the same level. No. It's possible, but I don't think they should. Like I said earlier, they need to find a way to do it respectfully and end the Black Panther title and give it
Yes,
to Shuri.
you could replace Captain America, but not Steve Rogers.
Yeah. You cannot replace Chadwick Boseman with someone else to play T'Challa.
So can Letitia Wright, the actress who plays Shuri, can she lead an entire movie?
It's a good question. Here's my thoughts on that character. She just looks too young for me. I don't know her actual age, but throughout the movie, she just looked very young. I don't know if they did something to put her makeup to make her look like a teenager, but if they made her look older, I could buy the fact that she's the new Black Panther. Not only that, but I also feel as though she does need to bulk up a bit. If you watch the movie, she seems pretty short to begin with. Not the tallest actress. She didn't have a lot of, I guess, muscle definition. So
Letitia Wright's born 1993. So she's about 27?
okay, so then she's a lot old. Not a lot, but she's older than I expected. I thought she was like 2021.
I mean, come on, all the '90s movies that we watch were all the kids that playing teenagers were actually in their 20s. I mean, this is what's happening here.
It's how an actor portrays the character. She played Shuri as a younger person because she was the younger sister of T'Challa, so she had to play a younger sister role,
And the scientist at that.
Yeah, and and see,
true.
that's what
true.
does get me, is because she's super smart. She should have carried herself.
Well, she's
lot
the
more
Doogie
mature.
Howser of the MCU.
Okay.
She is.
You know what? Yeah, okay. You put it that way, then it does make perfect sense. She played that role exactly how she was supposed to. Be honest with you, I love Shuri. I thought she was a fantastic addition
Shuri is
to
great.
that movie. I thought she really brought out a lot of brightness to that movie. Her
Yeah, I mean-
personality was super fun.
Her and Chadwick Boseman, they were both the shining stars in
Yeah.
that movie, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
And she could carry it on. I mean, if they needed a smart person in the MCU and Tony Stark is gone, she could play,
Yeah.
that character too.
Here's my thoughts, and I'm thinking out loud when I say this, only because Red brought up a really good point. They could definitely do something, some sort of origin story of her learning to become Black Panther, and then
Yes.
somehow segue into doing a flash forward where T'Challa has passed for some unknown reason, and then her already realizing that the mantle that she took as Black Panther was not temporary. Now it is permanent.
Hold
She
on.
could not have given it back right away, because when Chadwick Boseman came back, everybody was transported.
Oh, that's
to
right.
the
That's
battle
right.
scene.
That's right. Yeah.
So the only time that had any passing between that scene to, I guess, Tony's funeral, I think that's the only days after.
Okay, hold on real fast, you guys. I had to look this up. I know one of our listeners is going to catch up on this. During the promo for Endgame, while they were showing the missing people, one of those missing people was Shuri. So it seems like she was gone during the decimation. It looks like she may have been snapped also.
Oh, was she blacked out?
Yep. However, Angela Bassett, who played Shuri's mom, said that the Queen and Shuri both survived, and the Russos didn't confirm either one of those.
So there's no. It's ambiguous then.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, there was an actual movie scene to portray her turning into dust.
I don't recall her turning into dust.
Well, I mean, a lot of them, we didn't see them turning into dust, but they did.
But they also didn't mention Shuri in Wakanda when they had the illusion for Namor. But
Wait, what?
remember when they had the radar up and it was
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
map.
yeah. I remember
Yeah.
that. But that could just be that she was just doing her own thing, like ruling Wakanda, though.
yeah.
She could have
Okay.
been like, "You Avengers are doing your own thing. We were never Avengers. We're still gonna just take care of Wakanda."
Yeah, and that's the one thing about them, right? Is that they only take care of Wakanda. They try to keep everything with themselves. All right, well, just
So
wanted
it
to
seems that
mention
we're
that Shuri might have been snapped. I just wanted to put it out there before someone gets mad and posts it on the social media.
It's all a bunch of what ifs. There's nothing solid until Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige confirm everything else.
True.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think Luke has hit the nail on the spot where we won't see anything regarding Black Panther, at least
Till
for the next.
2023.
Yeah,
Well,
I
with
think
the
yeah.
pandemic,
think so.
I'm thinking 3 to 4.
yeah. I
3
would
to
say
4.
3 to 4 years.
And I think that's probably the best. I think that's probably the best option too. It's gonna give the fans enough time to mourn the loss of Chadwick Boseman, and then in a few years be ready to then see more from Wakanda. I think 5 years is a long time to be. I mean, well, Black Panther came out in 2018, so that's gonna be 7 years away from Wakanda, which is a long time.
Yeah, very true. Okay, guys. So with the passing of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, when the movie came out, we all saw the cultural impact of what that movie meant to a lot of people, particularly those who are African Americans. The movie made $1 billion, and it showed, as I earlier stated, that you can still be a box office success while representing other minorities or people of other colors, races, ethnicities. The next thing that we want to bring up to our listeners is the cultural impact of this movie. Eman, I know that you've got some thoughts on this, so why don't you start us off on this?
As a kid, what did I see growing up, in the Bay Area? And during the 80s, we had Superman. Superman was the ultimate hero. He was the one that stood up for good and nobility and whatnot. As the years went on, then we'd see Wolverine, we'd see Cyclops, we'd see all these other characters that are on TV, but none that matched the look of my neighborhood or of my children. Black Panther was something that was absolutely needed. We needed Chadwick Boseman to represent people and kids, most importantly kids, who didn't have someone that they could really look up to. I mean, in the MCU, who can the black kids really look up to? Rhodey. Who else? Storm. If they were allowed to, even Blade. But Chadwick Boseman was the Captain America of the young black America.
That's well said. I never thought of it like that, but that's a very true statement.
I live here in Oakland, and I see it. And you need someone to look up to, someone to say, hey, look, I want to be like him when I grow up. And in an area where they don't have someone that looks like you, when you look at something that you love and, hey, I'm not being represented, and then you're finally represented, and it happens to be one of the best movies literally ever made, one of the biggest movies ever made, you're just there like, Mom, Dad, I want to be like him. And that matters in a young America, in a young black America, in a young minority America that needs representation. And Chadwick Boseman and Black Panther started that all over again. It was needed.
Well said, man. Well said. Red, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I'm making a list right now of all the characters in every superhero we've seen in the last 2 decades, and a majority of them play second fiddle to the main character. So you have Storm, Falcon, War Machine, Jubilee, Cyborg. And then you got the top tier ones would be Spawn, Miles Morales, the Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, and then I'm missing one more. Blade. Yeah, some of those movies were made a long time ago, but the representation of any color or any race as being the star of the movie was much needed now,
especially in today's climate, I would say.
And it should open up more doors for POCs to star in not just a Marvel movie, but an actual maybe ensemble, just like Crazy Rich Asians.
Mm-hmm.
There was no movies that was just strictly Asians until, well, I'll take that back.
Hold on.
Better luck tomorrow.
There's no
Always Be My Maybe was also all Asians.
Yeah,
that wasn't.
There was no movie that made it big.
Better. That was better than
that made it big before Crazy Rich Asians.
Different podcast. I thought it was better than Crazy Rich Asians, by the way.
But yeah, it should open more doors.
Which one, Luke?
Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah, see? Always Be My Baby, yes.
That was the one with Alyssa Wong, right?
Ali Wong and Randall Park.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't... Okay.
You know why? Hold on. You know why, AJ? Because it was fluffy. It was fun. It was fluffy. It was silly. It was warm-hearted. Whereas Crazy Rich Asians was very... You need to be top tier, and your family needs to be top tier. And to be honest with you, I'm not top tier. I'm more Randall Park than I am those Crazy Rich Asians. I identified with Randall's character, and he got the girl. You go, Randall Park.
Okay, all right. That's another podcast. Another
podcast.
And he punched Keanu Reeves.
And there's a song about it.
Okay, and the last movie that had minority leads was Harold and Kumar. So hopefully that opens more doors for minorities to be leads in movies from now on.
Major AAA movies.
I hope so. I love it. I mean, as a fan of fantasy and sci-fi and comics, I'm always shocked when people push back against that, or they'll use the just incredibly offensive word incidental. Well, if diversity is incidental, or if it happens naturally, then I'm okay with it. And I'm like, who cares? Like, honestly, if all of the new lead characters were black or all of the new lead characters were Asian for all the comics, okay, I'm fine with that. They're
As long as the story's good, it's all about storytelling.
absolutely.
Where was Savage Dragon coming as a race?
Dragon.
Savage Dragon.
I don't think they ever. I think he's just always been dragon, dude.
Okay. I thought he was like a regular dude that turned into a dragon.
I'm just a dude, just as a dude, disguised as another dude.
Savage Dragon was pretty dope, though. I mean, I know it's still going on, but I remember those first few issues that I got. The artwork was awesome. The storytelling was subpar, but I was like a teenager, so everything looked cool to me.
Was that all Eric Larson?
Yeah, it was all Eric Larson.
Yeah.
You write and drew the book.
Yeah.
At least for the first 1,200 issues. I don't know. I know for the
1,200
first
issues.
I'm
not
just
even-
kidding. I'm over exaggerating.
I was like, damn.
At least for the first, I guess, 100 issue, I believe it was all
Yeah.
Eric Larson.
So my thoughts on this movie as far as the cultural impact, and I'm gonna get a little personal here. My nephew, he's African American, and I'm very close to him. I'll do anything for the kid. The more that I think about his future and what he has to face and look up to, I think before I never really thought about the cultural impact of Black Panther and what it means to African Americans. But since he's come into my life, I realize like things like this, that someone that they can look up to and say, I can be a superhero. It doesn't have to just be a Caucasian, because that's for a while, that's what a lot of the male lead actors who were superheroes were. And for me personally, I'm happy about the success of Black Panther, and I hope that this leads to, again, more representation in not just African Americans, but all other races, minorities, ethnicities. And being a kid growing up, I realized that I am not a Captain America fan. Like, I never related to Captain America, but I always related to Batman and Spider-Man. And I was never a fan of Superman either. And I think part of the reason, now that I really think about it, is because I could see myself as those characters, because they're just in a mask. So no one knows who they really are, right?
Good point.
I can't say I relate to Captain America, that I can look up and be like, one day as a kid, I'm like, I'm gonna play Captain America, because I had no features of that character. With the Black Panther movie, little kids who are African American, they see that they can be superheroes. They don't have to feel as though that they don't have anyone that they can pretend to be for Halloween. Not to say that they can only be Black Panther. They don't want to be Superman, or they don't want to be Captain America. They can be someone of their ethnicity, color, whatever you want to call it. They can be
Someone that
who,
they can relate to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Someone that looks like them that they can dress up as. You know what I mean?
That's what's needed, is that every kid is represented in one way or another.
It doesn't have to be race either. There's also, again, like the LGBTQ community. They also need a hero, and
That's true. Yes. Yes.
When Iceman comes back, they're gonna go be true to the books and have him be gay. Or
well, he wasn't gay until later on in the books, and then that was more of like an Ultimate Universe, wasn't it?
No,
Okay.
it was in 616.
Well, the new Avengers Empire
Yeah.
that's coming out, Avengers Empire Aftermath #1, has a gay couple on the cover.
Let me.
oh, it's Hulkling and Wiccan.
So once again, going back to the success of Black Panther and showing America and the world that movies can be successful while showing representation at the same time, we wanted to bring up the subject of who we would like to see as far as other races, minorities, ethnicities, who we would like to see in future movies. I'll start off on this, and I'm just going to go with the DC, and then I'll go with Marvel. And for DC, and I brought this up before, I was reading the new Superman that came out a few years back, which was the Chinese Superman, Kong Kenan. And to be quite honest, I thought it was a decent read. I liked that character and how he was playing off as a teenage Superman. And I wouldn't mind seeing an Asian Superman. I don't know if mainstream is ready for that, but I would hope that maybe, in my lifetime that could happen. If they do some sort of DC multiverse storyline, we would see that character. And on the Marvel side, I mean, being Filipino, just within the last, I think it was 2 or 3 years, the character Wave came around, and her look and her power set, I really liked it. I would like to see Wave somehow be represented in movies. I don't know as far as Marvel's plans. I know that obviously they got Shang-Chi coming out, so they are definitely putting more Asians in movies, and not to mention the fact that throughout the Iron Fist, there was a lot of Asians on that show. So I'm not saying that they haven't done their part, but as far as what I'd like to see those two characters in movies someday. Red, what about you?
Remember In Living Color?
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember Handyman? I'd like to see more representation from the handicapped community. Not in that form as far as like a parody. Definitely, like, we've seen Professor X. He's in a wheelchair. There's this character in New Warrior, Silhouette. She's, I guess, takes the power of the shadows. She disappears into them. She walks on I guess on stilts or some kind of walking sticks.
Right.
Definitely, yeah. I'd like to see more of that because it gives that portion of the population representation as well. The handicapped kids or people do need their own superhero as well.
That's a very well thought answer. When you first
I kind of premised it with a comedy because
I didn't know where this was going. But
that's the only one I could recall back. With the handicap or handy-capable person.
For me, it's got to be my two of my favorite characters, Silk and Miss Marvel, with Kamala Khan.
Oh.
So I love those two characters. I think they have great standalone series. They have great comics already written about them. Of course, there's rumors of a TV show being made about her. I haven't seen anything confirmed about it, but I would love to see. We really haven't. No one's even really talked about how to start representing Middle Eastern and Arabs and Arab Americans. There's a huge population of Arab Americans that has this awesome superhero with Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
And we just need to see her kind of brought to the forefront a little more.
I mean, I've seen people cosplay as Kamala Khan, and they're majority of them as Middle Eastern. So yeah, she's got a great fan base.
I would love to see that character. I didn't even think about her, but yes, that would be a great addition in the MCU. Question though, Luke, with Captain Marvel only being one movie, do you think that Kamala Khan is? I mean, I think it's inevitable because she's a very popular comic book character, but do you think we'll see her sooner or later? Like within 5 years, or will it be more within 10 years? Only because Captain Marvel is still, Carol Danvers is still freshly new in the MCU.
That's a really good question. I think it's going to be later. I think it's going to be mid late 20s if I had to put my guess on it. but nothing soon. I don't see anything unless they do a Disney Plus show on her, which would also be awesome. But a standalone movie, I'm not positive. And who even knows what the future of standalone movies are going to be looking like in the next 10 years? I think the whole idea may be evolving.
Now, as far as her character, because I don't read Kamala Khan in the comics. What is her age group? She's a teenager, correct?
Teenager, yeah, younger.
So, I mean, they could potentially bring her at a younger age, like maybe 14, 15, and then her develop powers and then build her on as a character, I guess.
Yeah, it could work that way because they're already brought on Monica Rambeau. Avengers 227, she becomes Captain Marvel. Definitely, if they can show her, they can show Kamala Khan, at least a younger version.
And lastly, E-Man, who would you like to see?
I'm gonna go more based off of like my own experiences. I've seen the Chinese being represented. I've seen Kamala Khan and the Pakistanis being represented. And that's great. I'm glad that the creators of these characters are reaching outside of their bubble, looking into somebody else's culture and trying to create a character for them. I really like how they're doing that. And I'm with you, AJ. Personally, because I'm part Filipino, I also want to see Wave. Wave is the first Filipina character that I know of in comics and in a major comic book label also. So that matters to me. It matters to my kids. It matters to my daughter especially. She's going to want to see someone that represents her when she grows up. I'm also I would like to see a Filipina, and then I would also like to see more Mexican representation. And I would like to see more, it's okay to step out of the boundaries and not say, oh, we have another Latino character. Go ahead and say, hey, now we have a character from Argentina. Or this new superhero is from Costa Rica. I don't like how they kind of bundle some of the characters' lineages into a label, Latino or Asian. It's okay, man. Get specific. Hey, this character's from Uruguay and they have psychic powers and they're one of the most powerful X-Men. Man, that's awesome. Go ahead and say they're from a certain region. Go ahead and even say the region. Go ahead and even say the country that they're from. Because we want more people around the world to be represented. And there's nothing nicer than hearing, man, Marvel has a Filipino superhero. Man, that's me. Or Marvel has a character from the Congo. Man, that's my family. I want to hear more specifics in the creation of characters from here on out. I don't.
Where would you put Hong Kong Fooey?
He's from San Francisco, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's got Scatman Carruthers. That's the voice.
Hong Kong Fooey.
He's a dog, but he lives in Chinatown.
Oh my God. Hold on, wait. Didn't he kind of talk like a 70s like one of those blaxploitation movies?
Exactly. Where would you put him? How would you categorize?
I'm gonna have to sit on that maybe for another podcast. But AJ, that's what I would like to see more of. Let's get specific now. That's what I want to see.
That's a very good point. I think that when they do bring in mutants into the MCU, we could see a lot more of that because then that's more of a worldwide mutation.
Yeah.
So it won't be strictly the U.S. You could possibly see other characters that way. I guess they already tried that when they tried to bring in...
Inhumans?
Yeah, the Inhumans. They could have done that, but... I mean...
Yeah, how's that going to play in now?
By the way, I was looking so forward to the Inhumans movie too, and Marvel
TV show.
No, I was happy to hear when it was originally going to be a movie.
Oh, gotcha.
The original idea was supposed to be a movie, but then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. went ahead, and the writers from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. went ahead and took that idea, and they just ran it to the ground. I'm so upset with that.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the Inhumans will come back.
In Feige we trust. I'm sure he'll be able to come up with an idea to have Inhumans, Avengers, and X-Men all living in one world. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be multiple worlds. Hey, look, multiverse just opened up. Never know. Right?
It's true. Okay, guys. It's time to go into our pickups of the week. And because we did not record last week, we can include pickups from last week. So I guess you could say pickups from this week and last week. Luke, do you want to go first on whatever you've picked up the last 2 weeks?
I have not been able to make it down. My shop has been, and this is something that is actually good for our listeners to think about, because with the new shipping methods, books are arriving and not showing up in weird time slots. So sometimes they'll show up a week late, sometimes they'll show up the day of, but I'm just not sure what's going on. I think everyone's still trying to figure out this whole Diamond and DC Marvel shipment method, but
Could you, I guess, explain that? Because from my understanding, the only thing that should have been affected is DC, correct? Because I thought everything was still going through Diamond other than DC, but now it's affecting all other companies?
it is because DC has chosen to do their releases a day earlier. However,
Supposedly a day earlier.
Oh, it's a day earlier.
they've chosen to release on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays, but their books are showing up on Thursdays.
Oh,
And not all the shops. And so it's really messy right now with a lot of local comic book shops, and I know I'm feeling that pain. And I used to enjoy going every Wednesday and getting all my comics, and it was a lot of fun. And now it seems almost weekly where my LCS is posting an apology saying that all the books aren't there, and we're so sorry, but we got in one box of these, but if you want to come get all your books, maybe come Thursday night or Friday morning. So it's a big mess right now still.
Like, you can't blame the USPS on that. I mean, because Diamond and whatever DC's using, they're using
I thought they're using FedEx.
UPS for Marvel and then FedEx for DC's books. And I think some of their schedules is kind of turned upside down because of the USPS. What's going on there?
Right.
But like the big cities, they're gonna get their shipments, but the rural towns, like where I live, where there is no FedEx or UPS hubs close by, those books are gonna come in a day later.
Oh, damn. Have you been able to pick anything up the last 2 weeks?
Nothing new, but I did get some books to come in. I mean, I'm finally part of the club, the ASM 300 club.
Nice.
And then,
Awesome.
And then a part of the ALF club now too, the one where he humps the heel. And then this is the first appearance of Rogue, so I got the Avengers annual.
Avengers, awesome.
Oh, wow.
All courtesy of Mr. Tony Carter.
That's
We did
exciting.
Tony Carter.
We did
Thank you.
a trade.
Do you mind if I ask what you gave up?
I gave up a couple of Silver Age Avengers books, some Tales of Suspense, and a Venom 3.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Nice.
So a pretty good trade.
I mean, that Alpha one, I know you've been looking for that for a while. So
Yeah, I'm part of the club now. I love that cover. It fits my personality.
E-Man, what did you get? Or what have you gotten in the last 2 weeks?
Well, I'm glad you asked, good sir. I have a list.
All right.
I'll keep it short. So I had all these notes about the books that I read over the last couple of weeks, and
Go for it.
Kind of excited.
Give us a quick review on what you recommend and what was trash.
Okay, so Batman 98. Loved it. There's a battle in there between Harley and Punchline. And not just the battle that happened, but how Jorge Jimenez draws Punchline like in these crazy face poses. I just absolutely love how he captures her psychoness. Right now, that run is still absolutely wonderful. So people need to really jump on the Jorge Jimenez run of Batman, because it's just absolutely beautiful. I went ahead and picked up also Web of Venom, Wraith 1. Read it, kind of weirded out by it. Okay. I'm going to say this out loud, and I don't know if I'm the only one, but why does Wraith, Null, and Black Winter kind of look the same?
We don't know yet. That's the thing.
And Codex.
That's in Codex?
Well,
Yeah,
Codex,
and Codex.
did they reveal Codex's face?
Well, I mean, he still has that like long hair,
Oh, yeah,
pale hair.
Yeah, the 80s band look. I don't know, you guys, like Thor kind of had that long-haired look, and I don't know. They're looking kind of the same, so I don't know how I really feel about that Wraith book. But there was just one thing that happened at the end that now is just making me question, who's coming, and it doesn't seem like it's just Noel that's coming. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it at that for you people to read. I want you guys to figure it out.
I wasn't feeling the art on that.
Huh?
I wasn't feeling the art on that.
Nah, I wasn't feeling the art on that one either.
The facial expressions.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, but isn't it a one shot?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's just a one shot. So, I think you should get it for just that little snippet at the end. Really, and once you pick it up, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are 3 books that I picked up that are not on DC or Marvel's site that I absolutely just want to mention. So, Wind, that's on Boom. That is James Tynion IV's other book, fantasy book about a boy discovery. It's really for the YA crowd. And I was thinking about it as if I was a young teenager. That book, fun. I recommend it. I'm on this journey. I want to see what happens. I liked it. Another one that I picked up the Alan Qua variant was Shadow Service #1. I like that as very Jessica Jones-ish. Nothing wrong with that. Art's pretty cool.
What's the publisher?
Shadow Service, I believe, is Vault.
Okay.
And then the one that surprised me, and I know it's only the first issue, but the art blew me away. We only find them when they're dead, #1. The way the art in this pops and the layers upon layers in this art, in this space fantasy, blew me away. I'm fully on board with this book. Let's see what happens in the first arc.
Yeah, I agree. The art in that is amazing.
The last one that I kind of want to briefly mention is Inkblot #1 by Emma Kubert. It's a very fantastical, but the art is, it needs some help, but I'm going to jump on board. Let's see what happens.
Nice.
So my pickups for the last 2 weeks, I'm going to just go right ahead and say, I was not feeling Wind. I got the first issue. I read it. You know what? Art means a lot to me, and this art just didn't match my, I guess, the art wasn't, the art didn't draw me in.
It's because it's not Jorge Jimenez art, because you think James Tynion IV, you think Jorge Jimenez.
Well, no, I mean, Something's Killing the Children is also Tynion, and it's a very different art from the Batman story. And I'm still reading Something's Killing the Children. It's just something about when I think it may be also because it is a young adult type of story. I couldn't get into it. But hey, if E-Man likes it and he's willing to give it a shot, that just goes to show you that not all of us read the same type of comics here, guys. So I also picked up Batman 98. Again, I agree with E-Man. It's a great story, this Joker War. If you can pick up the Matina, the cover B, I don't know what is going on where it's like Harley's morphing into the Joker's face, but that cover B, it's a top-notch cover. I know that Matina has gotten some heat regarding possible copying. His cover Bs for Batman have been on fire lately.
Yeah, I agree. I too picked up cover B. That cover is beautiful.
Yeah. And I also picked up We Only Find Them When They're Dead. Yeah, Simone DeMeo's art is amazing. I hope to possibly pick up some original art from this comic at some point. The thing is, I can't tell if it's digital or if pencil and ink. It looks digital, right?
It looks digital. It does look digital.
Yeah.
The lines are too crisp. But again, like I mentioned, the way the art is layered in this book is what really caught my eye.
And those are the books that I picked up last week. As far as this week, I picked up the next issue 10 of Something's Killing the Children. So I know that this book has been hot and it's rising as far as popularity, and the first issue is going up in value. I'm going back and forth on this book. It slows down as far as storytelling, and then it picks up really quick. I'm not sure how I feel about this up and down motion of the storytelling on this. I'm going to finish off the second arc, and depending on where it leaves off, I may read the next arc. But the last issue was really good. It really picked up the pace, and there's going to be a lot of action, I'm assuming, on issue 11. And then the second book that I picked up yesterday was the Dark Knight Death Metal Trinity Crisis.
Say that again. Say that again. Say
I
that again
actually
fast.
had to read it. I had to read it. Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis.
What? Why do they make these titles so difficult to say?
I don't know.
I got it too. I got that right here.
I don't know if it's just people don't care, but there's a good amount of first appearances on there that I don't know if it's being slept on, or have you had a chance to read it yet?
I went through it. I was trying to go through it before the podcast, but yeah, there's a lot of characters in there, even if it's just like one or two panels.
Yeah.
It's
The one character that stuck out to me was, and it's weird that they named her this, but her character name is Cole, which is very similar to Null. But anyways, Cole is the daughter of Batman and Wonder Woman
in a different
universe. Now, I don't know if they've ever had children in another like multiverse. I tried to look it up online last night and I couldn't find any information as far as in comic book continuity if they've ever had children. Does anyone know? I know, Luke, you're pretty good with these facts here.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think Batman and Wonder Woman have ever conceived a child.
Yeah.
That is an interesting fact that they kind of just put that in there without much
just slipped it in there.
Yeah.
Just slipped it.
You know if this is a Donny Cates book, he would have like completely like thrown that all over, like he would have told everyone about that.
Yeah, that would have been huge news.
Yeah. So, it's I don't want to say it's a spec book, but if you are looking for, spec books, that's something you may want to keep a copy or two to hold on to see if maybe Snyder's got something in the works with that character, because obviously that could be a very powerful character down the line. We don't know where this whole Dark Knight's Metal is going to go as far as storytelling and where it leads. But
yeah, is she going to intersect with the Robin King?
Yeah, we don't know.
I've said it last week. I'm not a fan of this run. I'm not a fan of this Death Metal 2. Let's see what happens. It's Snyder. I'm sure there's a lot of curveballs that he's throwing, but I'm not feeling it. I'm on it for the run. I'll stick with it. But it's starting to be like Empire for me, where I'm like, I'm starting not to care. I don't know why. There's just too much going on. I think it's that. It's just too many things going on.
We have the Joker War. We have the 3 Jokers, and we have Death Metal. And this is Snyder's swan song with comic book heroes. So,
yeah,
this is his supposedly final superhero-related comic for the foreseeable future.
So that's why I'm sticking with it. Just because I'm hoping that he's just going to end it with just that 12 round knockout right there is what I'm hoping.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. And other than that, that's all I picked up. I think we've covered a lot for tonight's episode.
Wait, I'm still kind of mulling over this idea of Wonder Woman and Batman having a kid. So
wait, say that again. Hold on.
I'm still mulling over this idea.
Okay. Since we're going to go on that topic, I'm reading the comic book, and I don't understand how the daughter's hair is red.
Right?
I'm like, wait a minute.
It made no sense.
I was like, wait, you were saying that your parents are Batman and Wonder Woman, yet you've got red hair? I'm like,
but we're talking comic books. We're also talking about multiverses, so nothing's supposed to make sense, right?
Weird, because Amazonian and human. I mean, I could see a Kryptonian and Amazonian maybe have babies. Her wonder ovaries and a super sperm.
Like what Brody said in Mallrats. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It made sense. It's just quite graphic on how he said it.
Okay.
She could receive the super sperm.
Yeah,
that's
but
what I'm saying.
Have you watched the old Justice League? Not the old, but the Justice League animated series?
The one that went after Batman the animated series?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. In that series, they always implied that Batman and Wonder Woman, they have a thing for each other. They never dated. They were never a couple, but
it was
always
unspoken, an unspoken thing.
They liked each other. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? I could see let's just say if Wonder Woman had to choose between Batman and Superman, I could see Wonder Woman choosing Batman based on personality alone.
I'm not going to disagree with that. She is Wonder Woman. Honestly, she can have whoever she wants.
Well,
If
because
she
they're
wants
both
to
rich
decide,
and
if she wants.
philanthropists and had secret identities and such.
I mean, she knows both of them in and out. So it's like, it's kind of like that show Lost, where you had the one girl who had to choose between the two guys, right? Only difference is that this one's not helpless. She will kill both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Don't piss her off.
I don't know if you guys were reading the Tom Taylor run, but early on there was I'm trying to go back on that storyline where somehow Batman and Wonder Woman were trapped in an alternate like universe, and they were living there for like they couldn't die, and they were living there for like I believe
Decades.
like an equivalent of like hundreds of years. And then when they came back to their own universe, Catwoman was very upset. Like, wait a minute. So in our timeline, you've only been gone a day or two, but you in your guys' timeline, you guys have been together for 10, 20 years. And she was very pissed off about that. And I'm like, I always was wondering, are they ever going to go revisit that to see if they ever hooked up? But they never did.
Hey, look, who's the one that likes to go back into time and start picking out stories like that? Is that Cates? Donny Cates likes to go back into lore and bring forth a story that just makes magic. Who's to say that once he's done with Venom, Donny Cates doesn't jump ship and starts doing stuff like that? He's probably going to remember that. He probably listened to this podcast and was like, hey, AJ's right. By the way, that was our idea, Donny, but you're more than welcome on the podcast. I'm telling you, it's very possible that someone will revisit that.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. All right. With that being said, guys, we want to thank all our listeners. We've covered all the topics that we wanted to cover tonight. Lastly, we do have a giveaway. Luke, what do you got?
Yes, it's been a great week. I know I haven't been able to buy new books at the comic shop, but I have been collecting old books and buying collections. It's been a lot of fun. A couple books. I have an Amazing Spider-Man number 666. Let's get started off right. Go to the Instagram page when we post this and type in the number 666 for an entry into that, and also an entry into another spooky comic, Worlds of Unknown 5. So a couple nice giveaways for the listeners. Amazing Spider-Man 666 and a Worlds Unknown 5. Go to the Instagram page, C-List Villains, type in the secret word 666 for your chance to win.
Awesome. And we will allow the secret word up until next
Wednesday.
Yeah. So you guys have got till Wednesday. This will be up hopefully by Saturday or Sunday.
And really, we've been I've been having people message me directly for the giveaways, and that's worked out good. But let's start driving everyone to our Instagram page for updates on the podcast, for giveaways, for pop culture news in general, and really just make that kind of a central hub for the show, because I think most everyone uses Instagram. And then once we start linking that to a Facebook page, then we can branch out from there. But I really want to start having everyone look at that Instagram page, C-List Villains, for news and updates on the podcast.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all that information. Again, we want to reiterate that we want some followers, guys. We've only got less than 200 on the Instagram, and we're really trying to build that following there. So do your best to follow us and recommend the show if you love what we're talking about to other comic book enthusiasts. As you can see, we are not your typical comic book podcast. We like to cover a wide range of topics, and we will also like to hear from you guys as far as topics and questions that you want answered. So hit us up in Twitter, hit us up on Instagram. or even send us an email, clistvillains@gmail.com. And if you guys want us to cover any sort of particular topics, hit us up. And if there's anyone that wants to sponsor us, we're willing to take sponsors. It doesn't have to be comic book related, guys. If Travada wants to sponsor us,
exactly. I was going to ask you, did Travada hit you up?
Oh no! Stop! No! Stop! Another podcast.
It's Travada for prep.
Oh man.
With that being said, guys, thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Good night.
Good night.
Cheers.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the C-List Villains Podcast, your cultivators of the comic culture. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and Spotify. All you got to do is search for C-List Villains. If you want to send us an email, you can contact us at clistvillains@gmail.com. And make sure you follow Luke Weeks on Facebook and Instagram, and join his Facebook group, Rare Keys and First Appearance Comics, also known as RKF Comics. I'm your host, AJ, and you can find me on Instagram, AJ the Comic Collector. Thanks, and see you next episode.